Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is going to be Warhammer Combat Patrol number 3. We get our 5 Infernus Marines with this issue. I got my delivery yesterday, and obviously we get 4 now per delivery. So we've got issue 4, we got issue 5, and we've got issue 6. But come and join me on the desk and we'll have a look at this issue. So issue 3 is our 5 Infernus Marines. Oh, and I forgot we've got our cards in this as well. Right, and they are carded, which is nice to see. I was concerned that they might just be printed on a bit of paper, but they're carded. We'll have a look at those in a little bit, and they are the combat patrols for Space Marines and Terminators. Space Marines and Terminators. Space Marines and Tyranids. Terminators. Right. Okay, cool. Cool, we'll have a look at those. Right, so put the plastic aside like we normally do. You don't really want to see 32mm bases. And we're starting off with our Infernus build. So obviously, those of us that got Leviathan, we've already got a load of these, but if anybody hasn't collected Leviathan or picked up one of the starter sets, you won't have received any of these Space Marines. So there's actually very little in the way of customization on these. All the shoulder pads are moulded on, so you're going to be relying on, unless you cut them away and put chapter shoulder pads on, you're going to be relying on transfers. But the sergeant, there is a option for a slightly different sergeant with this group, with this squad. So yeah, there's no painting guide, obviously, because we haven't had any paint yet. But the painting guide is going to be blue. A million worlds. So we get some background fluff on the Imperium. Just telling us, you know, the different worlds that we have. So Hive worlds, Forge worlds, Agri worlds, Shrine worlds. So Hive world is... it's just basically what it sounds like. It's just a mass of people living on the planet. There may be some form of industrialization, you know, on a minimal level, but essentially they're literally just farms for supplying the endless soldiers that the Imperial Guard needs. Forge worlds, more often than not, run by the Mechanicus, Adeptus Mechanicus, and they are the manufactorums. So just basically a planet-sized factory, churning out all the weapons, etc., spaceships, tanks, guns, whatever you need for the army. The Agri world, they're feeding the others, and then you get Shrine worlds, which are literally, as it says, they're like places where people will pilgrimage to offer prayers to whatever particular saint is on that shrine world, or obviously effigies of the God Emperor of mankind on his golden throne. Okay, then we get some Space Marines at War info. So yeah, I'm really hoping they don't get rid of the Land Raider anytime soon, because I want to pick up a few of these for my Dark Angels and my Grey Knights. I want to do at least 2 or 3 Infernus Redeemer, I think is the with the heavy flamestorm cannons. Land Raider Redeemer for my Grey Knights. And then obviously it just talks about the first company. This is just talking about different companies within a Space Marine chapter. 10th company, traditionally scouts. which would the aspirants and neophytes would be in. And the first company was their veterans, and then the rest of the companies were either line battle companies or reserve companies, and each reserve company would have a specialist role. So you'd have like a reserve company of assault troops, you'd have a reserve company of bog standard line infantry, you'd have a reserve company of heavy support, so all sort of like your Devastator squads or other heavy support troops like your Infernus squads. I think Infernus squads would be classed as like heavy support, but you've also got the guys with the multi-melter cannons and like the I forget what they're called now, with the Hellstorm Hellstorm squads, which had the plasma cannons and stuff like that. Deep Strike. So this is a bit of fiction for you. 2 pages story. It may be continued. Then you get some info on your Infernus squad and a D6 rolling chart or a D3 rolling chart. Naming table. And then you get the data sheet here. So Space Marine unit names. Just telling you how to use the naming tables. This is the Space Marine Combat Patrol. I don't think it's as good as other Start Collecting or Combat Patrol box sets that have been released. I think they really have dropped the model count on this, which is disappointing. And then we have Cleanse, Purge, Kill, Introduction to Play, Moving, Shooting and Inflicting Wounds with a squad. So shooting attacks. So these are flamers. So as I understand it, they are auto hits. Just trying to see. Doesn't say. And then we have Cleanse, Purge, Kill, Mission Briefing. In this mission, you will use an Infernus Marine to purge a number of Tyranid infestation sites. The infestation sites are represented on your Tyranid terrain battle card essentials. Battlefield essentials, so that's these puppies. So they have a basic stat line here of toughness, save and wounds. And yeah. And the other side looks like that. So that's our first set of cards. So this is it. Here's our Infernus Marine. That's his deployment zone. I mean, you could, like, if you hang on for this particular playthrough until issue 5, you could use your sergeant as an individual Marine. Right, so you get turn by turn example, and then showing you how to do your wound rolls and attacks, etc. Okay, and then Space Marine victory, Tyranids victory. We then get another group photo of the whole collection, all our paints. I think there's 31. And we get some brushes here as well as the texture tool, and more wound markers. You're going to have wound markers coming out of your ears. And then issue 4 is the paints, and issue 5 is our exclusive collection miniature. So as I said, we get the Combat Patrol cards, data cards for the 2 Combat Patrols. We get our Winged Tyranid Prime and our Captain in Terminator armour, Von Ryan Leapers and the Infernus squad. We get the Barb Gaunts and the Terminator squad, and we get the Termagaunt and the Librarian. Now, I believe we get a Psychophage with this collection, so at some point I'm assuming we will get a Psychophage data card as well. There you go. And that's the back. So Imperial and Tyranid symbols on the back. Come down, whoops, let's have a quick squiz at the plastic, shall we? So this is a sculpt of 2023, not surprisingly. And it is a nice kit. Now, I refrained from doing any kind of really big build and review videos for the particular miniatures in Leviathan because I knew that we were going to be potentially getting the collection in a part works a bit later on. I am disappointed though that it's not obviously 2 armies. I did mention this I think in the previous video. I am kind of cool with it being this, and I'm kind of not cool with it being this format with the combat patrols. One, because I was looking forward to expanding my Tyranid range through a collection, is one of the reasons why I'm not massively excited for it. But on the other hand, I am looking forward to collecting some different factions and having enough factions so that if friends want to come over and play a quick game of combat patrol, I've got different options for them. And yeah, so you get your 5 Marines. Your sergeant, as I said, has a couple of options. So there's one where he's drawing his blade, and I think the other one is he's shooting his pistol. Or throwing, yeah, shooting a pistol and throwing a grenade, I think, potentially. Let me just recall the destructions. One second. No, tell a lie. The one drawing his blade has his pistol in his other hand. So that means that... Yeah, so the option where he's throwing the grenade will be the other sergeant. But that's cool. And when we come to build them, I'll show you the other build option. It's already built, obviously, because I've had the set for a while, but I'll show you the other sergeant and what the other sergeant looks like. Right, come back and we will get them built. Okay. Hey, lovelies. Right, so we're going to build 2 Infernus Marines. I've already built the first 3. So that's those guys. Let's start off with the bog standard Marine. And I'm actually going to glue this guy to his base first, just because it's going to make it, that's better, it's going to make it easier. So I'm using, although it's a Tamiya pot, I'm using EMA Plastic Weld as my glue. Right, so that's that. Then we're going to come in and pop the head in, which just goes and connects into the front. And then shave a little bit off this pin because I haven't done it. So I always shave a little bit off my pins rather than try and put a slot into the hole that they go into. And I find that that works perfectly well. In allowing any air to escape. So there's that. I'm then going to come in and do the backpack. And then the first arm is going to go on. And then the second arm. Right, and that's it. That's basically how these guys go together. Now, for the sergeant of the squad, now in the instructions for the sergeant, it shows you how to make the sergeant drawing his combat blade. But I thought, seeing as you've got the instructions for that, I'll show you how to make the sergeant throwing the grenade. And again, I'm going to come in, and first thing I'm going to do is just glue him to the base. So, get my glue down, like so. Then you have this arm, which is hovering over his Pyre Blaster. I think that's what they're called, isn't it? So that goes into the front of the torso, and then on the opposite side you're going to stick his head in. I mean, I say opposite side, it's actually the same side. Right, so there you go. That's that bit. Then we are going to stick this, and you just need to make sure that you get this on right, okay, because it's because of the way that it's been designed. Just make sure that you're not coming at it from the wrong direction. And then the torso will go on. Like so. The front of the torso goes on like so. Okay, and that's what you've got so far. I'm just going to come in with the backpack, and it's absolutely chucking it down with rain outside. So backpack, and then finally his grenade arm, which will go on. Like so. And that's what you end up with, this character here. The other character looks like this. So those are your two sergeants. I'm in the process of painting this one that I got with Leviathan. So it's essentially the same body, it's just slightly different. You know, one's got a pistol and he's drawing his combat knife. The other one's lobbing a grenade. Okay. But that's that. That's all 5 of your Infernus Marines done. Right, so hopefully you will come back and join me in the next video. Alright, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.